Surprise, surprise, many people are still wearing masks outdoors on the first day of relaxed COVID-19 rules. From next year, more women in Singapore will be allowed to freeze their eggs for non-medical reasons. And Will Smith apologizes to Chris Rock for slapping him at the Oscars, saying he was out of line. You're watching The Big Story, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. I'm Olivia Quay.
And I'm Hairianto Diman right here in the Kampong Glam area. Now, Olivia, I'm excited because it's our first broadcast, outdoor broadcast. And I tell you, I'm not the only one who's amped up for the day because restaurants right here, they have been busy all day serving larger groups of diners. Now, it's just stopped raining here. It was raining rather heavily earlier on. Now, of course, you can't really see the crowd, but I tell you, early on, there were people out and about having lunch here at the Kampong Glam area. We checked in with one of the restaurant as well, and the manager, she shared with us how they've adapted to the easing of measures.
Right, but first, the other big change today. For the first time in almost 2 years, Singaporeans can step outside without masking up. But did they? Let's find out.
It feels good lah, because it's like you can feel the wind on your face and things like that, can really feel the fresh air, and it's so hot, When the mask is off, it feels a lot better actually. Yeah, but of course, now I feel like the weird one because like everybody is still wearing masks and I'm not wearing.
I just came from inside, so I'm outside here now to take out my mask.
So you can take out lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
I also like straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. It's been a long time since I just smell my breath. So now it's fresh air.
Oh, like this morning when I went for the walk and all that in the park, yeah, I was not wearing it. So it depends what I'm going to do. So if I'm going to go to public transport and you need the wear mask, then might as well just wear it because it's going to be a short walk from here.
I think it's our habit, yeah, and also, certain area you still have to put on a mask. So the taking on and off is quite troublesome. So our habit, we just put it on and then, yeah. Then I also observe a lot of people still with their mask on, so maybe it's safer.
Well, I have to say, it is really nice to be outdoors and not wearing my mask and not have to feel guilty about it. Now, I spoke to some people earlier on as well. Generally they welcome the mask of not wearing the mask in an outdoor setting. Generally, the men, they say, for them it is a very welcoming change because, especially for those who have facial hair, less perspiration, less discomfort. But of course, there are those as well who says that, hey, now they cannot get away with going out unshaven. Now, for the ladies, well, they finally say it is time to bring out the makeup because it's mask off, makeup on. And really, there's a reason to dress up and look good. The new rules kicking in today allow groups bigger than 5 to dine in together. For most, this means they no longer have to choose which friends to have meals with. And for families, it's time to catch up on quality time together again. And that was what I observed for lunch earlier on. It may seem like any other Tuesday here in the Kampong Glam area. But for these restaurants, today has been a long time coming as they prepare to welcome bigger groups of up to 10 people to dine in together. At the Straits Teppanyaki at Busora Street, the Asian fusion restaurant is ready to serve the lunch crowd. Tables started filling up as early as 12 noon.
We are really elated with the ease of regulations. We are really looking forward to welcome more diners to be coming into the Straits Teppanyaki because traditionally our cuisine is really meant to have to be served to a group of big diners at the same time. In terms of preparations for the restaurant, we have actually made sure that we have enough supplies of stocks coming in for all our ingredients. We hope that we are able to host events. We are able to have acoustic performances, recitals.
For diners, this easing of dining in measures is very much welcomed. Like for colleagues who now have the chance to bond over a meal with their team members.
What this allows for is face-to-face interactions, better team bonding. As you can see, I'm here with my team today. This is our first day back, for all of us to be back to the office, and we're happy we can do this. I mean, this is going to translate into improved productivity, better interaction, more creativity. Even though we were at lunch, we discussed some work as people do, and we've identified solutions already. So things are only going to get better from this.
It's such a great relief for us because we're more than 5 people in our team. So it's always awkward when you want to do a team bonding, you kind of have to split the group.
For me, it's been so long, it's almost like a new experience.
It's like a new Singaporean Independence Day.
One more thing that businesses and diners are certainly very excited about, the cutoff for alcohol sales and consumption will be lifted from tonight. Now this means that after 10:30 p.m, alcohol can continue to be sold and consumed. Well, for more on what you can or cannot do from today, take a look online at straitstimes.com. Now you can also find information on where you can go without a mask in Singapore and what's considered indoor and outdoor settings. Now remember, mask wearing indoors will still remain mandatory. And that is it. And that's all from me right here at Kampong Glam. I'll see you soon. Now it's back to you, Olivia, for the day's big stories.
Meanwhile, from urging more flexible work arrangements to greater protection for victims of domestic violence to allowing elective egg freezing, these were part of a long-anticipated white paper on Singapore women's development with a goal of achieving equality between men and women. The 115-page paper was submitted to Parliament yesterday and follows over a year of discussions. It sets out 5 main areas of focus: equal opportunities in the workplace, recognition and support for caregivers, protection against violence and harm, other support measures for women, including single mothers and divorcees, and mindset shifts. We'll hone in on a few points like egg freezing. Joining me to discuss that is Ms. Xueling, Minister of State for Social and Family Development. Minister of State for Manpower, Ms. Gan Siow Huang, is here as well to talk about flexible work arrangements, or FWAs for short. So MOS Gan, let's go to you first. A new set of FWA guidelines will be introduced by 2024, which will require employers to consider these requests from employees fairly and properly. More companies are adopting FWAs. Do tell us though, how would FWAs benefit men and women?
Thanks, Oliver. This is a great question. Flexible arrangements actually will benefit all workers, both women and men. Especially for women, many whom are still the primary caregivers at home, flexible arrangements will allow them to be able to better manage the work as well as personal life and family commitments. And flexible arrangements which are going to be available to both women and men equally, hopefully will also allow both to be able to share the caregiving responsibilities better. Well, for the employers, actually flexible work arrangements also offer opportunities because they can then tap on a larger pool of talent, some of whom might be the elderly or caregivers, who previously had to stop work, or had to take a slower pace at work because of lack of flexible work arrangements. I think all in all, we are hoping that with promotion of flexible work arrangements, it will be a win-win for both the employees as well as the employers.
Definitely. So something else that was proposed in the white paper, the government will also enshrine standards on fair employment practices in law. MOS Gan, what are the motivations for legislating the 3 landing points to ensure workplace fairness?
Well, actually, last year, we already announced our intent to enshrine the tripartite guidelines on fair employment practices in law. This is to send our strongest signal on our zero tolerance on discrimination and harassment at the workplace. Now, through the year-long series of the conversations on Singapore women's development, as well as MOM's surveys, we find that discrimination continues to be a problem and that there is a need for us to stem it. So the committee on workplace fairness is looking into legislating the requirement for companies to put in place formal processes to deal with grievances encountered by the employees. Secondly, also to protect the identity of people who report on workplace discrimination. And thirdly, to prohibit retaliation against those who report on discrimination. Well, actually, we are very much motivated by what we hear on the ground and also the feedback from some employees who themselves experience discrimination, but do not step forward to report because of fear of retaliation, loss of jobs for themselves or for their fellow colleagues. So the Tripartite Committee on Workplace Fairness will be consulting the tripartite partners as well as other stakeholders in the months ahead. And what we want to do is make sure that while we provide better assurance and protection to workers, we do not, as a result, create a litigious type of workplace culture.
Well, let's move on to egg freezing. In a symbolic move, women between 21 and 35 years old, whether single or married, will be allowed to freeze their eggs for non-medical reasons. But only legally married couples can use their frozen eggs to try for a baby through IVF. With more is MOS Soon Xueling. MOS Soon, we have a broad idea of why there is a call for women to be given the option to freeze their eggs to preserve fertility, essentially. For instance, if a woman wishes to conceive at an older age, I should say. So apart from that, MOS Soon, what are the other reasons for supporting elective egg freezing?
The government has always promoted marriage and parenthood aspirations amongst Singaporeans. Through the conversations we've had in the past year, we came to recognize that there are a group of women who were concerned that they were not able to find a suitable life partner when they were younger, but they still wished to preserve their fertility. So the government took a look at the various options and decided that there was no reason to restrict elective egg freezing for women because it is medically viable. We had also consulted the National Medical Ethics Committee as well as assisted reproduction practitioners.
MOS, is there a consultation process, so to speak, when a woman decides to freeze her eggs? The white paper mentions sufficient safeguards to ensure they make an informed choice. What is the government looking out for here?
It is important that the women who are considering elective egg freezing knows what are the pros and the cons to undergoing elective egg freezing. For example, it is an invasive medical procedure. Also, the success rates of successfully conceiving a child using a frozen egg is not high. Medical evidence shows that it is between 2 to 12%. It is also difficult for older women to take care of children as it might be exhausting. So one may not want to postpone parenthood till too elderly, senior, and age. Also, one also needs to be concerned about storage as well as the medical costs of elective egg freezing. So we think it is important that when a woman considers elective egg freezing, that they first undergo pre-procedure counselling, which will take into account all the above that I mentioned.
Very important indeed. Well, MOS, only legally married couples can use their frozen eggs for procreation. Why not make this option available for unmarried women as well?
We have always promoted parenthood within marriage. This has been a consistent government policy. Our current IVF, as well as our assisted reproduction conditions and criteria, all adhere to the same principle, that of parenthood within marriage. Therefore, even when we allow elective egg freezing, we're still making this option, providing women the choice to freeze their eggs when they're single. They do not have to be married when they are considering it, but in the actual conception of having the egg develop to becoming a baby, only legally married couples are allowed to do so.
Well, thank you to both for coming on The Big Story. Minister of State for Social and Family Development, Soon Xueling, and Minister of State for Manpower, Gan Siow Huang. In other local headlines, more than $28.1 billion will have been given out after the final job support scheme payout is dispersed from March 31st. This payout will total more than $145 million and will cover wages from November to December last year. The Immigration and Checkpoints Authority is seeing a surge in the number of people renewing their passports, with some 6,000 applications being received every day, triple the number from 2 years ago before the pandemic. ICA says more time will be needed to process the applications, as 1 million passports either have expired or are expiring. And Will Smith has publicly apologized to Chris Rock for slapping him at the Oscars ceremony, writing on Instagram that his behavior was unacceptable and inexcusable, and quote, "I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be." Will Smith's statement comes after the Film Academy says it may take action against him. It's unlikely that he will be stripped of his Best Actor award. Other big names like Harvey Weinstein have been removed from Hollywood's Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, but all have retained their awards. Well, those are our top stories for today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Olivia Kui. See you tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.